from Kelleher Stadium in Marlborough, Massachusetts. It's the EFL on ABT. Week number 5 in the Eastern Football League as the Marlboro Shamrocks host the Charlestown Townies. Hello, everybody. I'm John Horrigan, joined by Sean Smith and Peter McGowan. Well, tonight, a big matchup as the Marlboro Shamrocks look to three-peat here in '93. They've won the Eastern Football League Championship 3 out of the last 4 seasons, 2 consecutive wins. They come into tonight's game with a record of 3-1, and they're hosting the Charlestown Townies at 1-2. For the Townies, Sean, it may be get extra candles, get extra water, because they may be in for a long night.
Well, they may be in for a long night against this Randolph team, of course. Winning last week, 29-12 over the Boston Braves at East Boston Stadium. A very fast action game, and these Townies are going to be up for it. But the Townies scored 34 points themselves last week in essentially what was a one-half game against the Maine Warriors.
Oh, look at the Marlboro Shamrocks. First of all, they're coached by Bobby Brennan in his 3rd season. Brennan lost 1 game in the regular season last year. In fact, he's lost 3 regular season games over the past 3 seasons. He's led by former UMass quarterback and EFL MVP of 1992, Dave Palazzi. And, of course, he's going to be throwing all night long to the offensive MVP, Skeeter Bolio, who is electrifying, wearing number 28. That's what Charlestown has to eliminate in the air. As far as the ground goes, they got Frankie Fay right now, 5th in the league in rushing, 5th last season. He led the league in rushing 2 years ago. Fay is not only dangerous when he gets the ball handed off to him, but also when he gets it thrown to him in the flat.
Yes, well, Ballou, he had a couple touchdowns last week in Boston, and also Gabe Saval had a couple touchdowns for the Marlboro Shamrocks, so they have a double-ended passing attack. And as you said, Frankie Fay is a real good runner.
And Stovall is up there among the leading scorers. For Charlestown offensively, Taylor Bogno leading the EFL in rushing, averaging 8 yards per carry.
Yeah, well, Bogno had a big rushing week last week against the Maine Warriors with 3 touchdown yards of 60, 40, and 1 yard. So he's been pretty big for this Townie squad.
All right, now you can hear George Murphy, the dean of EFL officials. He's mic'd tonight, so we're in for a little NFL action. Sometimes George, when George uses that portable mic, garage doors open in the neighborhood. Sometimes he throws planes off of their flight pattern on their way into Logan Airport. But the officials for tonight's game is honorable. George Murphy is the referee. The umpire is Tom English, another great guy. Headlinesman is Dave Fusco. The field judge, Jake Quaid. The back judge is Jim Gurney. And the clock operator is Bill Miller. Game time temperature at about 62 degrees, the relative humidity of 75%, dew point at 60 degrees. There is a 40% chance of rain tonight, the ceiling at about 10,000 feet. A beautiful night late here in the summer for EFL football as the field here at Kelleher Stadium, Sean, looks to be in immaculate condition.
Oh, yes, this is the best field I'd say I've seen all season, besides the one at Randolph, which also has a very good field. But this Randolph, Marlborough, and, of course, the Mitchell Club field are considered the top fields in the league as far as turf-wise.
Well, look at the organizations. The Marlboro Shamrocks are owned by Bob Kays, who also owns the Marlboro Prospector. The head coach is Bobby Brennan. He's assisted by Jim Pasigna. Mark Garrett does the offensive lines. Jim Petkowicz handles the receivers. And quarterback in special teams is Jim Attaway. The Charlestown Townies, maybe you could tell us a little bit about their organization, Sean.
Well, the owner of the Townies is John Houlihan. He's also their head coach for this season. Their general manager is Paul Flynn. Their defensive coordinator is Dave Nameron. Their linebacking coach is Mike McManus. The defensive back coach is Mark Ferraro.
So right now, we're going to stand for the national anthem. We'd like to welcome all of our viewers viewing along the lines in Boston and in Marlborough, also Dedham and Randolph.
With the stripes and bright stars through the perilous skies, all the ramparts
anthem, kind of, sung by some hot babe. And that is one of the bennies here of the EFL is all of the women of the EFL. And they're out tonight. So we're set for kickoff. Kicking off for the Shamrocks will be John Toyes. He's going to be wearing 14 tonight. He is the premier kicker in the Eastern Football League. Some say he's also the premier punter. There's no doubt about that. He'll kick deep to Taylor Bogno. Actually, this is going to be fielded by Peter Givens. Givens, following Bogno's block, gets out across the 20 and out to the 24. That's where Charlestown will begin their first offensive possession, 1st and 10. Offensively for the Townies, wearing their Houston Oiler-like uniforms, sky blue trimmed in red and white. The center is Fran McCarthy. The right guard, Jack Canini. The left guard is Kevin Marino. The right tackle, Tony Natola. The left tackle, Jim Charis. The tight end is Danny Ryan. The split end, Bill Pino. The flanker, Jeff McCarthy. The fullback, Jim Murphy. The tailback, the league's leading rusher, Taylor Bogno. And the quarterback is Ken Kinsey. There's an injured Townie on the play defensively for the Shamrocks. The right defensive tackle is John Creamer. The left defensive tackle is Larry Heindel. He's a good one. You got to watch him. The left defensive end is Kevin Morrissey. The right defensive end, Pete Turgeon. The left linebacker, Carl Hume. The right linebacker, Chuck Eck. In the middle will be Larry Dory. The free safety, Joe DeFranco. The strong safety, Tommy Grasso. The left cornerback, Jeff Gemma. And the right cornerback is Phil Knowles.
I can make one comment about Kinsey. Kinsey's a 45-year-old quarterback who has just come out of retirement after 7 years off. He led the Townies to 5 Park League titles in the 1970s when there was the old Boston Park Football League. So this is a guy who can still put it up in the air. He had a great performance against Medway in the season opener when they lost by 1. So this guy ain't no washed-up 45-year-old. He still has some talent, and that's why he came back.
Wow, the EFL. There was a guy named by the name of Dennis Kelly who played here for centuries here at Marlborough. He was a great one. Wore number 13. No one will ever be able to wear that number again. He played since 1976 to 1992. The injured player is the Townies' Keith Gage. He comes off under his own power. But so he ain't no George Blanders with his hand shine. He's a veteran of Charlestown. As I mentioned, they come in at 1-2. They've scored 60 points, and they've only allowed 35 against. They've done well. Marlborough comes in 81-4, 57 against.
Yes, well, the Townies lost 13-12 in the opening week to Medway, and then 16-13 up in Sanford, where a few calls could have gone nowhere. Now let's return you to the action with John.
Ken Kinsey is the quarterback. They come out with a pro set, actually wing right. They give it, they fake it to Bogno. Kinsey, upright is sacked. The first play of the game. Who is it? It's Kevin Morrissey. Morrissey always up there amongst the league leaders in quarterback sacks, and that is evident there as he drops Kinsey. Morrissey last year, 6.5 sacks.
Yes, what we heard, Morrissey is one of the reasons why these guys are in the position they are with the great defensive squad that they have. That they had last season, and they continue to have as they're in second place in the EFL.
Now, the Townies made the playoffs last year. Unfortunately, they drew Randolph in the first round. Randolph annihilated them.
Oh, yeah. Well, they are very close after 3 quarters, but the game kind of, as Paul Flynn was telling me earlier, the game kind of got loose from them in that 4th quarter.
Jimbo Murphy in the backfield with Bogno. Kinsey steps up, turns the other way, throws it. I believe it was intended for Bill Pino. Ball's incomplete on the coverage. The ever-dangerous Steve Cavallo doesn't start, but boy, you know he's out there. He hits and hits and hits. Also, Joe DeFranco in on the play.
Okay, Kinsey 1 for 2 on, or excuse me, I should say 0 for 1 in the evening. And as we said, he had those great performances. He has not played for the last several games. Ed Sullivan was starting in place of him, but now he's back in the starter's role.
Kinsey, 45 years old. He doesn't move like a 45-year-old. He's going to work from the shotgun now. Wide to the near side is Billy Pino. Wide to the far side is Ray. Kinsey strings it out long, looking for McCarty, and Cavallo had one-on-one coverage. It falls incomplete. McCarty's another good one to watch. He was last year up amongst the league-leading scorers, and he was also amongst the league's leading receivers for Charlestown. He caught 24 balls last year, 16.3 per catch, 6 touchdowns. Here's George Murphy.
So the Townies have now put themselves in a situation, 4th down. Usually they get on the scoreboard first. Usually they're a quick scoring team, but this evening they have thrown the ball away.
Greg Moore backpedals. He will return the punts for the Shamrocks, averaging a little over 10 yards per punt return. He is dangerous. Jimbo Murphy will get the punting duties here tonight for the Townies. If you just joined us, pull up a chair. Trust me, there's nothing better on TV. We've got 50 channels of nothing. In 2 years, there'll be 500 channels of nothing. It's a high snap. It's fielded by Cavallo at the 49. Cavallo has a good return going here. One man back. He's finally upended by the man who punted the football. Lance Selman, who punted it, finally upends Cavallo. Not before he returns it, though, 29 yards.
Now they got a 1st and 10 on the Townie, or it should be on the Townie 20-yard line, I believe, if I'm correct. And you saw it on their play. Cavallo made a great break. Nobody defended him. He was off to the races. He could have gone in easily if he wasn't tripped up there.
29-yard punt by Selman. That hurts. Shamrocks have it 1st and 10. They've got great field position early on here in the first quarter. We'll go over their starting lineups momentarily. This is Dave Palazzi, the MVP of the EFL last year, and you'll see why tonight. He strings it out for Bolio, his favorite target, touchdown. One play, one touchdown. Palazzi to Bolio. What else is new? It's 6-0 Marlborough, a 20-yard scoring strike.
This is exactly what happened last week against the Braves. They got on the board first, and they kept on pressing, and now they're up 6-0 already as we're 13:25 left in the first quarter here in Kelleher Field in Marblehead, in Marlborough. John Toyas is going to be attempting the extra point on this play.
Yeah, Toyas leading the league in place kicking. 7 for 9 on point afters. Cavallo will hold. The kick is up, and it is good. So, with 13:25 to play in the first quarter, the Marlboro Shamrocks have a 7-0 lead. You're watching the EFL on ABT. We'll be right back. 7-0 the score. Shamrocks with an early score. Palazzi to Bolio. Bolio was injured early on in the season. That is the 5th touchdown pass Palazzi has thrown. Bolio led the league in receiving last year. And he led the league in scoring as well. It's a deep kick. Givens at his own goal line. He bobbles the ball and drops it. Picks it up again now. Sprints to the left side. Following Bogno's block, he is upended, though, as he crosses the 10 out to the 12. The stop on the special teams made by Dean Schnee.
Okay, Givens again making a kick returner. He fumbled that ball. If he had not fumbled that ball, it would have been a clear path for him to go some yardage, but unfortunately he did fumble it. So they only got a 1st and 10 now with the ball on the 13-yard line of the Townies.
Well, Ken Kinsey comes out now, trying to get something going. Pino comes wide to the near side. In the backfield is Taylor Bogno. Long count by Kinsey. They give it to Bogno. Slashing to the left side, nowhere. Dory's in there. Along with John Creamer, the right defensive tackle.
Taylor Bogno, of course, having some big rushing. He had a big rushing game last week, as we mentioned to you. Also had scored a touchdown in the Townies opener against Medway.
What is it, Bogno, Bono, or Bono?
I don't know.
Then why you tell me Bogno? We'll call him Bono. Just like the lead singer of U2. There you go, or Bono Vox. Here's Bono, Bogno. He's upended by Dory. Finally terminated by Knowles. Gets out to the 15. Gains 4.
So Bono, as they're going to call him, gains 4 yards it appears, and we now got a 3rd down, I should say, and 7 at the 15-yard line.
Yep, 3rd and 7. For the Townies, lights are on here at Kelleher Stadium. Jeff McCarthy now comes wide to the near side. He's one of the offensive weapons you've got to watch. Kinsey working from the shotgun, throws it out for Pino, who has it. It's a 1st down for Charlestown. Billy Pino with the reception.
Pino had a great receiving game against Medway, and also had a pretty good, some good receptions against the Maine Sabres up in Sanford, Maine. He did not play last week for some odd reason in their first win of the season against the Lewis and Auburn Maine Warriors. So they will now have a 1st and 10 on their own 27-yard line.
Jimbo Murphy comes into the backfield. He was 8th in rushing last year in the EFL with 4.6 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns on 416 yards. This is Bonneau, right into the arms of Larry Dory. Also help made by Tommy Grasso, the strong safety.
Of course, Bonneau is continuing only to gain a couple of yards here. They're really tightening up their defense on him. He only gained 3 yards in that play.
Crowd still filing into Kelleher Stadium here, probably about 300 on hand, still maybe even more. And of course, we're in code blue right now as far as the Babe Alert goes, but we'll keep you posted on that as the night progresses. From the I formation, Morrissey's way offside. Morrissey was behind the tailback on that play. Bonneau is upended on the play. Carl Hume brought him down. There's a flag.
Of course, the offside there, Morrissey just got a big jump. It looked like he was going after a steak of meat or something, a slab of meat. He just jumped right over the line. And they're going to call offensive offsides, which is kind of surprising from what we saw. Obviously, some encroachment on the play. There must have been.
Yeah. Even though it was against the Shamrocks, they just pointed in the wrong direction, which is nothing new with the EFL officials.
PA announcer announced it was offensive offside, so that's what got us thinking that here in the press box.
So it is second down, we'll call it 2. Townies on the move, ball being snapped from the 36. They come out with a compact power eye. Jimbo Murphy, the blocking back. The feature back is Taylor Bono. This is Bonneau, Bogno. Close to the first down, maybe a yard shy. He's brought down the play. Larry Heindel in on the hit along with Greg Crum. Crum, a former Accomack Colt, as is Tony Amara, the starting center tonight. It is a first down.
First down now, and that will be on the 37.5-yard line, let's call it, for the Charlestown Townies.
First and 10 now, working from the 38. They have the power eye. Kinsey backpedals and throws for Pino, who has it. Oh, boy, he took a wicked shot from Jeff Gemna. It is enough for the first down, a gain of 12 on the play.
So a gain of 12 gets them down onto the 50-yard line. The Townies now are keep on going. There's only 9:31, I should say, left here in the first quarter. And the score is 7-0 Marlboro Shamrocks.
Yeah, it says 13. Roughing the passer is the call. Heindel gets called. Heindel is the Secretary of Defense is his nickname. He's one of the best ones in the league. It's a big 15-yarder.
That 15 yards is a big difference, especially when you're on that 50-yard line, because once you get in the enemy's territory, it's a lot easier to score. It's a lot easier for the offensive team, that is, because they get their confidence up now that they're in the other guy's territory, and they know that they have to perform here, basically. I don't even think I understand what I said.
Don't worry, all the people I work with, I don't understand them either. Huh, Kench? Kenzie, looking for McCarthy, wide open, he has it! Oh, a circus grab by Jeff McCarthy. First and goal for the Townies, deep in Marlborough territory.
What a play there. Jeff McCarthy diving on the turf and making the catch. They have first and goal from the 8-yard line for the Charlestown Townies. And Marlborough should start getting worried here. This is what they're known, the Townies, for early, getting up on the scoreboard early and taking that lead, but they usually fall apart later in games. Let's hope that does not happen here if you're a Townies fan.
Townies averaging 168 yards rushing per game, 155 in the air. Kinsey now, the pitch to Bonneau. Bonneau following Jimbo Murphy's block. Gemma misses him, goes to the outside. DeFranco can't get him. Finally, he dives out of bounds.
Of course, Taylor Bonneau again. He keeps on running. And now the Townies have a second down and goal from about the 5-yard line, it may appear around here. That's where it looks like they're marking them.
From the 4, gain of 5 by Bonneau. Townies averaging 323 yards per game total offense. They're averaging 20 points per game offensively. They've only fumbled 5 times. They've been penalized for 170 yards through 3 games. From the 4-yard line, Bonneau loses the ball, and the Rocks have it. Steve Cavallo recovers the fumble. Big turnover. A Townie scoring drive is thwarted.
Cavallo making a nice hit there, and he took the ball away, so that's a big play there, and the Shamrocks will now have 1st and 10 on their own 4-yard line. Let's see here now, though. They may have the ball. Let's see if they can keep the ball in their own territory and not fumble it back to the Townies.
Or let's see if they can keep it for more than one play and not throw a long pass. The center for the Shamrocks is former Hockomock Colt Tony Amara. The left guard, Ed Perkins. The right guard, Eric Starr, first-team All-Star for the EFL. Left tackle, first-team EFL All-Star John Benzinger. The right tackle, Tom Holmes. The split end, Skeeter Bolio. The flanker, Greg Moore. The tight end, Bob Ferrari. The fullback, Gabe Stovall. Tailback is Darrell Brown, and the quarterback, Dave Palazzi. Pass is incomplete. Palazzi hit on the play. Defensively for the Townies, the right defensive tackle is Ed McKinnon. The left defensive tackle is Chris Yancey. The right defensive end, Ed West. The left defensive end is Russell Freeman. The linebackers are Ron Menard and Mike Hardy. In the secondary, the left cornerback, Lance Selman. The right cornerback, Rob Ferraro. The free safety, Tony Filippone. The strong safety is Brian Walker, and the nose guard is Brian Hatch. Palazzi darts out of bounds. The Charlestown defense here, Sean, is pressuring the Shamrocks. They're getting bogged down in their own end zone.
Yeah, well, they did that to Maine last week, the Maine Warriors, and the Warriors, of course, ended up losing 34-6 to the Townies. So Townies team is showing a little more life now that they have that first win. They have probably, it's imagine, a bit more confident.
3rd down and 10. Ball being snapped from the 5. Bolio comes wide to the near side, drawing one-on-one coverage with Selman. Palazzi throwing right down the field for Darrell Brown, wide open. Brown with a big gain. 1st down for the Shamrocks. Huh.
That's a big play for the Shamrocks. The Shamrocks, of course, now have more room to operate on their offense. And a gain of 31 yards on that pass. So that means now they have a lot more breathing room. They can take a few hits and not have to worry about getting safety.
Darrell Brown, former Methuen outlaw, now wearing the Kelly green, white, and silver. 1st and 10 for the Shamrocks. That's their first down. Pitch out. This is Brown following Benzinger's block. Goes out of bounds. He's forced out of the play by linebacker Mike Hardy.
First bounds at about the 42-yard line, they may call it here. So he got a gain on the play of 6 yards. It will now be 2nd down and 4 for Marlborough at their own 42-yard line, with 7:11 left here in the first quarter.
So to 2nd down, yeah, we'll call 4. Good pickup by Darrell Brown. Starting at wing back tonight. Palazzi throwing long for Greg Moore, incomplete. One-on-one coverage provided by the right cornerback, Rob Ferraro. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 4. The Shamrocks 1 for 1 on 3rd down.
Palazzi on the evening is 3 for 5, 2 for 4, that's what I thought. 2 for 4 for 51 yards. Of course, that big 20-yard touchdown pass and a 31-yard pass a couple plays ago on 3rd down.
Scores around the EFL last night. Middleborough edged Merrimack Valley 20-10 in Merrimack Valley, and then the Boston Braves, a surprise, shocked Medway 31-19. Medway was 3-1 going into that game. They fall to 3-2, and the Braves go to 1-3. That was the Braves' first victory. Palazzi's in trouble now. He sprints to the right side, stops, throws downfield, and it's complete to Greg Moore. Moore, a great receiver when they try to key on Bolio. That leaves Greg Moore wide open.
Just to talk about that game last night over in Boston, that was a very competitive game where Medway made several mistakes. And that hopefully won't happen to either of these teams tonight, as it's going to be 1st and 10 on the Charlestown 43-yard line for the Marlboro Shamrocks.
Greg Moore last season, 9th in the league in receptions, 19 catches, 15 per catch for 2 touchdowns. Gabe Stovall, a former Medway Tiger, for about a half a yard. As Sean mentioned, Gabe Stovall is leading the league in scoring, along with Mario Borsi from Medway and Tony DeRosa from Middleborough, although DeRosa scored twice last night, one of them a long 27-yard run. He had about 135 yards rushing last night.
Oh, that's an amazing performance. And from what I heard, a kid from Ocean State last week, I forget his name, but he had, Jeff Hatch had a great performance down there at McCoy Stadium.
Yeah, I saw Merrimack Valley play, Sean. There were 3 100-yard rushers. There's a loose ball. Frankie Fay juggles it. I tell you, just put a little makeup on him and put him at Faneuil Hall, and he'd make some money doing that juggling act. Goes out of bounds, though. They lose big money, about 7 yards.
What?
Big money.
Yes, they lost big money, as you like to say. There's a hold on the play. Now that's on Marlborough. So that'll even send them back further another 10 yards, as they were at the 49-yard line. And so that ball will most likely go back to the 41 or the 41 of their own 41, but now they're not moving it. So waiting to see here what they're going to do on this penalty.
The penalty is declined. It's a loss of 7. The pitch out to Frank Fay. So it is a 3rd down and 17. The Shamrocks are 2 for 2 on 3rd down. The ball being snapped from the Charlestown 49-yard line. They come out with a pro set. Now Bob Ferrari, the tight end, comes in motion to the near side. Palazzi drops back, steps up, looking for Greg Moore. It is intercepted. It is intercepted by the free safety, Tony Filippone. Filippone with a nice return going here. Tony Filippone gets out to the 45. It is an interception return of 24 yards for Filippone. The first turnover committed by the Shamrocks. Townies dodge a bullet. They get it back.
Of course, returning that ball to the 44-yard line, as you said. They're going to mark it there. So that was a return of 24 yards. I believe I thought it was 14 originally, but that's big play for the Townies. They stop a Marlborough scoring drive.
It is 1st and 10. Sean, one thing you'll learn about the EFL and ABT, never second guess my mathematics if you want to get the boss upset. Loose ball, Kinsey dives on it. Marlborough trying to pry it free and claim it is theirs. Kinsey will come up with it. It is Marlborough's ball. Another turnover. The fumble is recovered by Brian Kennett.
That's already 3 turnovers in this football game in a span of about 7 or 8 minutes. So that means that somebody's going to have to decide if they want to win this ball game or not.
Games tonight around the EFL. Besides this one, the Maine Sabres travel to Mansfield to take on the Hockomock Colts, and then Randolph is at McCoy Stadium Annex in Rhode Island, taking on Ocean State. Was it Steve Korlacki, Jeff Hatch, and Wesley Pugh, 3 running backs for Ocean State 2 weeks ago, had 100 yards in one game. Palazzi rolls out, lofts it for Mike Sloan, the Shamrocks' leading receiver, and he goes out of bounds. First down.
Nice catch there on the play by Mike Sloan, of course. The receiver, 6'3", 185 out of Framingham State. That gives them 1st and goal and the 10-yard line for the Marlboro Shamrocks.
Palazzi's on fire tonight. He's 4 for 7 up to this point. 96 yards. Still got 4:24 left in the first quarter. 7-0 the score if you just joined us. John Horrigan along with Sean Smith and Peter McGowan. Kinch. Power formation. The pitch out to Frankie Fay, following Darrell Brown and Bob Ferrari. Frankie tries to string it to the outside, and he is thrown for a loss by Brian Walker, the strong safety.
Of course, the Townies defense coming up big again. There's 4:09 with the clock running left in this first quarter. The score is 7-0. Marlborough leads the Charlestown Townies. And
Frankie Fay coming into tonight's game as the 4th leading rusher in the EFL, 244 yards, 7.2 a pop. He's got 1 score. Now quickly hustling out of the lineup is Tommy Holmes, a right tackle. He's replaced by Ed Perkins. It is 2nd down and 13. Palazzi gives an inside handoff. I believe it was Gabriel Stovall. No, Frankie Fay, rather.
2nd down in 13, as you said. Now it's 3rd down and 13. Third and 9, they're actually going to make it now. He gained about 7 yards on the play, or was it about that? 2 timeouts left.
Shamrocks are 3 for 3 on third down. Third down and 9 now, working from the 7. Short drop by Palazzi, pump fake. He's throwing it for Bolio. Bolio, yeah, he was fouled there by the left cornerback, Lance Selman. Pass interference, first and goal for the Shamrocks. That wasn't a penalty, that was a crime, what he just did there.
Yeah, he grabbed them, and obviously, and they're going to call the first down here. First and goal for Marlborough.
Replay that on the television. First down.
Defensive holding, well, that's half the distance to the goal line, so it's going to be first down about the 4.5, the 5-yard line, let's call it, as Marlborough wants to make it 14-0 here.
Townies have been penalized twice for 10 yards. Yeah, so they spot the ball. Well, we're going to see where they're going to place it. Yeah, they're going to drop it at the 9. So it'll be first and goal from the 9-yard line. Gabe Stovall has checked into the backfield. He's a blocking back for Frankie Fay. Palazzi gives to Fay following Gabe Stovall. Fay surges forward towards the 5-yard line, picked up about 3 on the play.
Of course, Frankie Fay making his impact early on. Of course, played a great game last week, as you were talking about, and is one of the top running threats here for the Marlboro Shamrocks.
Second and goal from the 6. Bolio wide to the near side. Bob Ferrari, the tight end, comes in motion to the near side. Palazzi rolls out, looks Bolio's way, and then says, no, I'm going to look Moore's way. Now he's in trouble. Now he's shouting for help. Just lobs it up for Gabe Stovall, wide open. Stovall gets across the 5. All that running for a gain of 1, ladies and gentlemen.
Very short gain, and don't know if it was worth running about 30 yards back or so to make what turns out to be a 1-yard pass. He was obviously in trouble there, as you saw, and by the time he got released the ball, though, all the defenders to come back there and sack him, that Stovall was left open.
4 for 4. That is what Marlborough is on third down conversions. Third and goal from the 4. Bolio in motion, goes to the far side now. Stovall and Fay in the backfield. Palazzi pitches it back to Frankie Fay. This time he catches it. Fay across the 10, the 5, goes in for the touchdown. Frankie Fay goes in from 4 yards out. And with 1:24 to play in the first quarter, it's Marlborough 13, the Charlestown Townies not.
Great run there by Fay, cut back, cut outside, and then came back in. So now the Braves have a 13-0 lead. Of course, the little off-scene chat there, and it's 13-0 as the extra point kick is being attempted by John Toya.
Cavallo will hold it to low snap. The kick is up, and it is good. This kick goes to Concord. So, with 1:24 to play in the first quarter, it's 14-0 Marlborough. You're watching God's Network, the EFL on ABT.
Toya is a former Townie.
Don't second guess me, man. 14-0 the score. John Horrigan along with Sean Smith and Peter McGowan. Calhoun. Toya's kicking off. Toya's had to play quarterback in an exhibition game this year against the Merrimack Valley Outlaws when Skeeter Bolio, who started at quarterback, went down. The deep is Taylor Bonneau, number 26, and to his right is Peter Givens. Givens backpedals. He's going to field it at his own 6. Givens, a flag flies, gets out across the 20 to the 23. Actually, Givens had a nice return. There's a marker down now. George Murphy's got his super transponder recorder on tonight. That thing does a variety of things. Not only does it start his car, it unlocks it and warms them up on cold night. As I said, it can also air traffic control with that thing. Here comes George. You can hear his Walkman sometimes. He leaves it on.
Number 17, green, head slapping.
Oh, a head slap, which is similar to a dope slap. It's a personal foul. That's a George Murphy special head slap. Jeff Gemma gets called for that. He gets, I think, a little Purple Heart or something on his uniform for that, or something on his helmet.
20-yard personal foul, though, so it's 1st and 10 now in the 42, which is a big difference from the 22, trust me.
Clock is stopped. The officials now want to talk about it. Timeout taken here. They're here, George Murphy's phaser. Shamrocks take a timeout. The reason being they had 10 guys on the field. They wanted to make sure they get their 11th guy out there and not kill a penalty out there.
Of course, I'd like to say hello to all those people listening to us in our various towns in Marlborough and Boston, and Randolph and Dedham this evening or afternoon, as the case may be, in whatever municipality you are listening.
Look, there's nothing better on. It's either us or the Flintstones, okay? Or a bad rerun of MASH. 1st and 10 from the 43. Acerbic broadcasting here in the EFL. Well, they got Kinsey's going to work from the shotgun now. Actually, he's going to give an inside handoff to Bonneau. Bonneau following Jimbo Murphy's block. Oh, what a block by Murphy. Larry Dory upended Bonneau. But Jimbo Murphy just planted Steve Cavallo.
Of course, it's going to be Bonneau making a nice piece of that run there. He turns out a gain of a couple of yards, 5 yards on the play. So it'll be 2nd down and 5 at the 47-yard line for the Townies.
Clock winding down. We're down to 30 seconds left in the opening quarter. Shamrocks have put up an impressive 2 scores. McCarthy and Pino. Wide to the near side from the shotgun. Kinsey inside handoff to Bonneau following Jimbo Murphy, this time to the left side. Bonneau on his feet gets the 1st down. Carl Hume upended him. Also, Larry Heindel. Bonneau picks up 6 on the play. And that will do it for the 1st quarter. So we come to the conclusion of 1 quarter of play from Kelleher Stadium in Marlborough with the score. The Marlboro Shamrocks 14, the Charlestown Townies not. You're watching the EFL on ABT. We'll be back with the 2nd quarter right after this.
Welcome back here to Kelleher Field in Marlborough. Scores 14-0 after 1 quarter of play. And 1st down, handoff goes to Bonneau. Bonneau will get a couple. Bonneau's actually making a good piece of running out of there. He got back to about the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 2nd and 10. He did not get gain. Maybe 1 yard if they want to be very generous to him. Yes, he did gain 1 yard, so it's 2nd down and 9 now at the 45-yard line, or about an inch there from away. Of course, the Townies 1 and 2 entering tonight's game. Had a very interesting situation last week where the lights did not get turned on at Charlestown High School when they were hosting the Maine Warriors. Last 2 quarters were played with a 10-minute running clock instead of the traditional 15-minute EFL stop clock. Kinsey on 2nd down throws right side, and the pass is dropped by Jeff McCarthy, the wide receiver, 5'9", 170 pounds. That's going to make a 3rd down and 9 for the Townies. Of course, Marlborough, as we mentioned last week, defeated Boston 29-12. A very good game that they put on for all the people that were out there.
Stats through 1 quarter of play, unofficial. I'm tabulating them as I call tonight's game. Charlestown, 25 yards rushing, 51 passing, 76 yards total offense. Marlborough, 7 on the ground, 97 in the air for 104 yards total offense. 1st downs, 5-4 Charlestown. Penalties, Charlestown, 2 for 10. Marlborough, 3 for 35. Time of possession, a whopper. Charlestown, 11:43 to Marlborough's 3:17. Bonneau dropped for a serious loss. Heindel in there, the Secretary of Defense. Drops Bonneau for a loss of about 5 on the play. But yeah, time of possession. Charlestown 11:43 in the first quarter, and they didn't do much with it when they had the ball.
It didn't look like 11:43 up here. Of course, the Shamrocks scoring their 2 touchdowns very quick, and the Townies made an interception, had 2 fumbles there. And of course, the Shamrocks threw the interception.
So Lance Selman will punt. His last punt was a bag of potato chips that only went 29 yards. This one here goes beyond. Moore might have gotten his hand on it. And it rolls into the end zone. It is a 52-yard punt by Lance Selman and a touchback. The reason why they wanted to keep it away from Moore is he's averaging 30 yards per punt return.
Yeah, one of the top punt returners in the EFL, behind Bernard Lynch of Boston, by the way, who against the Shamrocks last week returned 102 yards a punt, 102 yards, and that's a new EFL record for those who are curious. A great return. It was an electric play if you had the chance to see it out there.
Moore averages 10 yards per punt return. He averages 30 on the kickoff return, my mistake. So it is 1st and 10. Darrell Brown checks into the Shamrock backfield. Bob Ferrari, the tight end, lines up to the right side. A wide right is Mike Sloan. Wide to the far side, Skeeter Bolio. Palazzi on the draw play. This is Darrell Brown. Squirms his way through the center of the line. Gets out to the 24. Picks up about 4.
Brown's second carry of the night. Brown carried for 6 yards in his first carry, and now their second down and 6 are going to call it from the 24-yard line. It gives them 2 carries and 10 yards in the night. And as the Marlboro Shamrocks march forward yet again.
Shamrocks averaging 20 points per game, 135 passing, 162 rushing. The pass is complete to Gabe Stovall, the big fullback.
Stovall coming up with a nice one-handed reception there, and took it into him and hauled it in, and what a play, I would say. Making a nice play on that reception. So now it's going to be first down. They have a first down about the 37-yard line. They're going to call it. It's in between the 37 and 38-yard line.
That is the 5th Shamrock first down. They work 1st and 10, and Skeeter Bolio lines up wide to the near side. Stovall and Brown in the backfield. Palazzi has the time again, strings it out long for Skeeter Bolio, who splits double coverage and makes the catch. Oh my, what a reception by Skeeter Bolio. Big play, first down.
Deserves a hand there. Skeeter Bolio making a nice reception, 42-yard reception, of course, and he did it in a way that made people look. He split the double coverage, as you said, and what a play. Not too many people could do that.
42-yard pass play from Dave Palazzi to Skeeter Bolio. First and 10 for the Shamrocks. That is their 6th first down. Working from the 20. Palazzi rolling out, looking Sloan and Bolio's way. He says, well, I'll pick Sloan this time. Throws it for Mike Sloan, overthrown. Sloan had beaten the one-on-one coverage, which was Lance Selman now, who's got his hands out, checking for rain or saying, that's not my fault.
Well, I mentioned also the Patriots happen to be playing tonight. I wonder if the guys on the Patriots squad can actually match the performance of some of these guys on the field. As we know, the Patriots, let's put it bluntly, really stink.
Well, I think they're going to go all the way and win the Super Bowl and not lose a game. Bill Parcells, that's what they told us. And I believe them. The Sullivans never lied to us.
Trust me, Shule.
Why should Orth want it? And the Patriots aren't going to St. Louis in 2 years. They're not moving to Connecticut.
Trust me, Shule's record is not in danger.
Oh, please, Schaefer Stadium is the best facility in the country. It's a state-of-the-art facility, and you can't tell me it isn't. The pass for Frank Fay is overthrown, incomplete. And Greg Arrington with the pressure.
Of course. Greg Arrington just recently added on to the Townies roster, number 28. I don't even have him on my roster. And Arrington is one of the many changes the Townies made in mid-season. They added a few players, and that did help them win their first game against the Maine Warriors last week.
The Shamrocks 4 for 5 on third down conversions. Now they work from the 20. A double wide outs to the near side. Slot right is Moore. A wide right is Skeeter Bolio. A power I formation. Play action fake to Frank Bay. And they pitch it to Greg Moore. Selman misses Moore. Moore trying to follow Starr's block. Starr's just standing there looking for somebody to block. Wow, that's the end-around pitch.
He loses about 4 yards on the play there. So now it's going to be 4th down and we'll call it 14 at the Charlestown 24-yard line.
That's Sean. That's what Brennan will do that to you. He'll lull you to sleep with a Palazzi to Bolio. Then he'll start pulling these tricks out of the bag using Frankie Fay in certain ways. But that was the end around with Moore. So here's a 40-yard field goal attempt by John Toyas. Toyas, the leading kicker in the EFL. He's 4 for 6 on field goals this year. A 40-yard attempt by Toyas. Oh my! Splits the upright. Wow, goes all the way to Northborough with 9:53 to play in the first half. It's 17-0 Marlborough. Let's come back. A 40-yarder by John Toyas. Last year he hit 3 40-yard field goals. one was for 45. He hit a long one in the championship game. That is one thing in the EFL, Sean. There are about 4 kickers, Goodrich being one of them, Toyas being another, in this Eastern Football League that can hit from 40 or more yards consistently. That was a long field goal that a lot of people, the consensus here was it could have gone 50 yards. Now Givens drops the ball. Back at the 2, he's in all sorts of trouble. Manages to make a return out of it, though. Givens with a 15-yard kick return out to the 19.
Nice play by Peter Givens, as he did, as you said, originally fumbled the ball down that 2-yard line, but he came back up with the ball, and he did not give it over to Marlborough, because if he gave it over to Marlborough, it could have been a 24-0 lead, and that would have definitely ended the Townies' night.
17-0. You know, if Charlestown doesn't do something quickly, we might have to call on the UN for this one. 9:25 left, first half. Kinsey with a long and deliberate count. The give is to Bonneau. Bonneau spins his way across the 20, out to the 22.
Nice play by Taylor Bonneau, of course. Obviously the leading rusher for the Townies tonight. He's gained several yards. I do not have my stats right in front of me, but Taylor gets a 3-yard gain, it looked like, on that play, and that should be 2nd and 7 on the he got a 2-yard gain on the play, so it's going to be 2nd down 8 on the 21-yard line.
He's only averaging 2 yards per carry. 11 carries, 22 yards. That's the league's leading rusher too, the EFL's leading rusher, Taylor Bonneau. Short pass, it bounced. If Pino were a shortstop, he could have made the play. Not in football. Incomplete pass. Stops the clock at 8:41. And Kinsey unofficially 3 for 7 passing. It'll be 3rd down. We'll call it 3rd and along 8. The Townies are 1 for 2 on 3rd down conversions tonight.
3rd down and 7 now for the Townies on the 21-yard line, let's call it.
Wide to the near side. They bring Jimmy Gillis, former Hyde Park Cowboy. They look Gillis's way. Actually, it was intended for McCarthy, whose pattern happened to converge with Gillis's. Either way, both were overthrown. McCarthy has a word with Gillis trying to explain the pattern. Phil Knowles and Steve Cavallo on the coverage for the Shamrocks. They'll bring up 4th down, and on will come Lance Selman.
Of course, you mentioned Gillis from the Hyde Park Cowboys, the former Hyde Park Cowboys, now the Boston Braves. He was added on in mid-season, and that Charlestown Hyde Park rivalry is a big rivalry, so I bet you the Hyde Park people did not like him joining the Townies. By the way, for those who want to know, tomorrow, next week at 7:30 over at Charlestown High School, the Townies and the Braves will meet in their first meeting since the Braves have changed their organizational name.
Yeah, the former Hyde Park Cowboys, now the Boston Braves. Lance Selman will punt. Deep is Greg Moore, averaging 10 yards per punt return. Selman gets it off. This is a good one. Moore lets it bounce. It takes a Townie bounce. Finally, Moore will pick it up at the 33. He's in trouble. He gets knocked backwards. It is a loss of 2 on the return for Greg Moore. Some extracurricular hitting going on in there. 46-yard punt by Selman. He's starting to get some footy at a 52-yarder already tonight. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Townies as they try to muster together some sort of scoring drive. They desperately need to get on the scoreboard here with 8:24 to play in the first half. John Horrigan along with Sean Smith and Peter McGowan on ABT. It's ABT or nothing. People have just opted for nothing when I said that. 1st and 10, Palazzi with a pro set this time, featuring Stovall and Frankie Fay. Wide to the near side is Michael Sloan. Skeeter Bolio to the top of your screen. Now, in motion, they send Jerry Creamer. Creamer on an option, the lefty. And he's going to be dropped. Well, Creamer is dropped by the nose guard, Brian Hatch. But you have to give credit to Brian Walker, the strong safety, who jumped in the face of Creamer.
Of course, the Townies having a very good defensive line back there. They've always given their all, even when they're losing a game, and known to be one of the toughest defenses in the league. It's going to be 2nd down now. Handoff will go right to Fay. Fay will get a couple yards. Not too much. As he was on his own 26. Russell Freeman with the tackle. Freeman, of course, defense end, 6 foot 215 out of Everett.
Yeah, talking about that Townie D, Sean, they average this against 63 yards a game. They only yield rushing. Teams get rushing against the Charlestown defense, and they only allow 115 on the pass. So that's only 178 yards defensively. They only allowed 10 points per game, but the Shamrocks have rung up 17. The Shamrocks are 4 for 6 on 3rd down. Palazzi steps up, looking for Skeeter Bolio and overthrows him. Bolio was open longer than a white hen pantry there.
Or open is another expression you'd say, longer than a store 24.
My line.
Copyrighted by John Horrigan, no, all rights reserved.
You're learning quick, kid. Sean Smith, ladies and gentlemen. How old do you think he is? 28?
Yeah.
40? Yeah. 18? My colleague tonight is a whopping 14 years old. Way to go, my man.
Hey, I figure if I get in this business early, then that way I won't be poor later on in my life.
You'll be poor in this business, trust me. You'll lose more money. I'm not wearing a barrel here tonight. Toyas will punt. And Toyas averaging 42.3 yards per punt, leading the league far and away with that average. He's going to fake it. It's a fake by Toyas, and he takes off for the sideline. John Toyas rumbles forward for the 1st down. Oh, my. Oh.
Nice fake there by Toyas. Gained right inside 1st down territory, and that's a big play. 13-yard carry by Mr. Toyas. It's going to be 1st down on the 44-yard line, and they're going to call it the 45, excuse me, as Toyas, the former Townie, comes back to haunt his ex-mate.
Didn't know that. He's a former Townie, huh? Man, this guy can kick, he can punt, he can run, and I swear, he played quarterback in exhibition games, Sean. He did a great job doing that, too. 5:51. Rock's got it back again. Palazzi steps up with the poise and the presence of mind for Skeeter Bolio, and he dropped it. Oh, my. A juggling act there. Boy, the package was there on time. All he had to do was sign for it. Splitting the double coverage. This secondary is getting riddled right now by Charlestown, but they're hanging tough.
Yeah, they got, of course, it's very hard to, I don't know, you lose your cohesiveness when you got several targets out there, of course. Brown, Bolio, and Stovall, in addition to Frank Fay on the running game.
Wow. Just got to rush like you read about. I've had already 4 Pepsis already. Excuse me. I won't drive. I'll just run home. Palazzi just lobs it out for Gabe Stovall. Stovall doesn't know where it is. Falls incomplete. I give Palazzi for starting out so well at 7 for 14 right now. Our cameraman, incidentally, is Also does play-by-play and color commentary work on the EFL and ABT. He's an associate producer. His name is Peter McGowan. Sid, doing the videography.
A shame that we couldn't have Peter up here in the booth tonight. Of course, Peter does other venues, does high school football games as well. So he's a renowned play-by-play and color guy.
Yeah, the voice of the Dedham Marauders. Marlborough is 4 for 7. On third down conversions, Palazzi rolls out, gets protection by Brown, throws it for Skeeter Bolio, wide open. First down for Marlborough. He was almost undressed right there by Lance Selman. And also Rob Ferraro.
I hope they wouldn't do that on a football field. It would not be a pretty sight at all, of course. Now, Bolio has made several catches this evening. Don't have an exact number on him.
But I do. He got 3 catches for 75 yards. He's not even in the top 10 in receivers. Give it a couple of weeks, Sean, and you watch. He'll lead the league like he usually does. Pitch out. Darrell Brown following John Benzinger's block. Benzinger with a nice block. Brown with a pretty nice gain here of 4 yards. Stays in bounds. Clock continues to run. Down to 4:40 left in the first half. 17-0 Marlborough.
Certainly right now the clock for the Charlestown Townies is their enemy, because they would like to get some points on the board, and they would really they're on a kind of a semi-roll now after that big win over Maine last week, so they would like to make it 2 in a row.
Well, time of possession, Charlestown headed for 11:43 out of 15 minutes in the first quarter. In this second quarter with 4:15 left, they've only headed for 3:54. Palazzi, the general, checking off at the line of scrimmage with a pro set. Drops back, has the time as he has had all night for Moore. He's got it. Oh, what a grab by Greg Moore. A fumble, and Moore recovers it in the end zone. Mercy.
Will they call it a touchdown is the question here. They will not call it a touchdown, so they'll give him a first and goal at the 7-yard line, at the 4 or the 3 or whatever they would like to call it. If you believe our producer here, he says the 3, and the scoreboard in the PA system says the 4. So listen to John. He's always right on these matters.
The kid's learning, Pete, ain't he? 34-yard pass play from Dave Palazzi to Greg Moore. It is first and goal from the 4. Palazzi rolling out, keeps it, and goes in for the touchdown. Dave Palazzi goes in for 4 yards out. And with 3:15 to play in the first half. Yep, the first half. 23-0 Marlborough in a big way. And
as the expression goes, it's actually, well, I can't say what it actually is because my producer will get mad at me.
Well, what?
23-0 as it is. They're going for the extra points. He said 24, unfortunately, and I know I'm going to get fired after this game for keep on criticizing him.
No, dude, you're just walking home from Marlborough back to Southie. Cavallo will hold for Toyas, who is perfect on point after attempts. Bad snap again. Cavallo places it right, though. Now it's 24-0. Okay? With 3:15 to play in the first half, it's 24-0. You're watching the EFL on God's Network, ABT. We're back. The EFL on ABT. ABT standing for All Babe Television. Check these ones out. Trusting Sid's judgment. The women of the EFL. I'm trying to push a calendar. The women of the EFL. So far, I only got Hildy, and she has more facial hair than I do. 3:15 left. Kicking off for the Shamrocks will be Eric Harvey, backup kicker. And that's a lonely job when you're behind Toyas. I think Toyas just hopped in his car and split. He's had a big night. Harvey will kick off. Bonoan Givens, who's had all sorts of problems. But this is Jimbo Murphy at the 16. He drops it again. Oh, boy's a hit there by Creamer. Creamer tried to cream him. Yeah, you knew you were going to hear that one. Murphy gets out to the 28. Now the officials stop the clock. Either that or they're trying to land aircraft the way they're waving their arms. Oh, 3:07 left and the Townies get it back.
Or 24-0, and now the big key, the 2-minute warning is coming up here. So if the Townies still have the ball, they're obviously going to be passing it. But if Marlborough has it, then the Townies are going to have to make something happen. As Marlborough's going to want to run down the clock, obviously, with a big lead.
I'd like to welcome all of our viewers who have just joined us from watching Gilligan's Island. It was that episode where Skipper builds the car. Cool. Kinsey working from the shotgun. Just throw it up and pray. His pass goes into the Charlestown bench. Gemma was about 15 feet near it. He was the closest. Falls incomplete, stops the clock at, I think it's 2:42.
Yes, that's right. 2:42 left on the clock, as it's going to be 2nd and 10. And Kinsey's starting to slow down here. Maybe his age is starting to catch up with him. Maybe he's starting to act like more of a 40-year-old instead of a 30-year-old.
Hey, come on. Pete Townsend still smashes it up at 48, man. Seeing him Monday night. Age has nothing to do with it. Kinsey works from the shotgun. Jimbo Murphy in the backfield along with Peter Givens. Kinsey drops back, dumps it out for Givens. They set up the screen. He runs into his own lineman, but manages to squirt free out to the 39. It is close to the first down. It is a first down.
Nice play there as Kinsey worked the screen and got himself a first down. So Townies is starting to gain some momentum. It's 2:20 left on the clock as the clock is running. It should be first down. They have 2nd down on the scoreboard still, so.
What it should be and what it actually is are two different things. It's the EFL, kid. Cartoon football, anything can happen. But at the end, everybody's okay. In football in its purest essence. We have reached the 2-minute warning, so with 2 minutes to play in the first half, it's Marlborough 24, Charlestown nothing. You're watching the EFL on you-know-what. Come back. Kinsey's pass is complete to Bonneau. Bonneau avoids a hit by Cavallo, spins free of Knowles. There's a flag on the play. Finally, Cavallo comes back and hits him along with DeFranco. That's a first down for the Townies. They caught us in the John there, huh, Pete? We came back a little late from the 39.
Of course, nice play there by Bonneau. Big play. Face mask against the Shamrocks. The ball was on. And now the Townies are going to take a timeout. And
with this timeout, we'll take a timeout. You're watching the EFL on
ABT.
We're back at Kelleher Stadium. 24-0 the score. The Shamrocks pounding on the Townies, but the Townies have the ball back at the 38. John Horrigan along with Sean Smith and Calhoun. Peter McGowan doing the video, doing a good job. I'd like to say hello to all of our viewers in Boston Cable, not because we want to, but because we have to. Kinsey in trouble. Dropped by Morrissey. Heindel is the one barking there because he's the one that set it all up. Big sack.
We have to say hi to the people in Boston Cable so we can get back on there more frequently with our ABT game of the week, you know. It's going to be a 2nd down, now 15. Kinsey was dropped for a 5-yard loss.
Heindel with another sack. Here's Kinsey again. This time he is dropped by John Creamer.
Big drop there by Creamer. And
John Creamer.
John Creamer. That's a weird name. Townies will take a timeout, and we're going to...
No, we're going to stay right here. I think they're going to take a timeout to check for all the body parts. Boy, look at that. It's 3rd and forever. The ball sits at the 46-yard line. It's about 3rd and 25. It's a different area code, I think, where the first down marker is. 1:11 left in the first half. Water boys out there, they're selling water out there. The kids are trying to get 25 cents a drink. You can hear their pockets jingling. Yeah, well, the Townies were on the move up until they started, I guess, they stopped preventing the Marlborough pass rush. Larry Heindel came into the game tonight with 3.5 sacks. He gets a half sack credit on that one. Morrissey has 1.5 sacks. There have been 3 Marlborough sacks here in the first quarter. More sacks here than, what, a big brass orchestra?
Yep, definitely a bit more sacks than a big brass orchestra.
Than the Tower Power horn section. How's that? All right.
Tower. This is after all.
More sacks here than the New York Yankee organization. How's that? All right. 3rd down and infinity from the 46. Kinsey working from the shotgun. He's in trouble again. Help! Steps up in the pocket, though. Cross midfield, makes a gain out of it. Goes out of bounds to the 47. The officials stop the clock. Game 7.
Kinsey looking very good.
I love, by the way, his book, Cuckoo for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I never knew he wrote that one, but...
That's Ken Kesey, I'm sorry.
Ken Kesey, yeah. Ken Kesey. Of course, there's also Ken Kaiser, the umpire in Major League Baseball. Looks like a Kaiser roll.
And we're going to stop with the Ken stuff, okay? That's ABT. You take a joke, it's funny the first time, and then you beat it into the ground until people hate you. 4th down from the 47. They're going to go for it. What the hey? 1:04 left in the first quarter. From the 47. Heavy pass rush. They dump it out. Complete to Danny Ryan, the tight end. Across the 35. And he stood up. He goes into a sea of green and is knocked backward. Charlestown turns the ball over on downs.
Nice play made on the nice play made there by Danny Ryan as they got it out to the Marlborough 40-yard line. 35-yard line, excuse me. So it was a pickup actually on that play of 12 yards. And this is a very crucial mistake. There's 55.3 seconds left here in the second quarter. It is 24-0, the defending EFL champion, the Marlboro Shamrocks, leading this one. And you're listening to God's Network. It is 1st and 10 on the 35-yard line.
Now, new quarterback is Creamer. Non-Dairy is his nickname. The pass is intended for Skeeter Bolio, who's got the dropsies today. Oh, he's dropped his quota for the season. He'll drop 3 balls in the year. He's dropped 2 tonight. Incomplete. I think Palazzi's already in his car and gone home. This one. Marlborough, a wicked lot. Charlestown, unfortunate. That's the score here. 49 seconds left in the first half. Jerry Creamer, the quarterback. He's a lefty. I'll see him on the arc when it comes again. Split backfield. Moore crossed the line of scrimmage yesterday. Flag down. What'd you get? You get him offside? Yeah, I got him offside. I saw him. He was a whale. Yeah, he was. Penalty. Yeah, 5 yards. We're in there in the conversation. Here's George Murphy in quadra sound, surround sound. There you go. 5 yards on the Shamrocks. It'll back him up.
In other words, it was an offsides, everybody.
All right, I'm going to jump on word for word what you say from now on. I'd like to thank Bob Brennan, coach of the Marlboro Shamrocks, Bob Kays, for allowing us to call this game and not kicking our heinies out. Creamer, the lefty, drops back to pass. Has the time, lobs it up for Greg Moore. Down the sideline, intercepted by Joe McCarthy. McCarthy picks it off. He's got a good return going here. Joe McCarthy crosses midfield. Finally, he's upended by Darrell Brown to the oohs and ahs of the crowd. It is a 33-yard interception return by Joe McCarthy. That is the second Shamrock turnover.
Of course, Joe McCarthy, I was talking to him before the game. He said, "You better make sure you mention your name on you mention my name on TV." And Townies GM
Joe McCarthy, Joe McCarthy, Joe McCarthy.
And Townies GM Paul Flynn said, "Well, you got to do something to get your name on TV." So he has done something. A 33-yard interception return, setting up a 1st and 10 for Charlestown.
Townies got 31 seconds. Hey, they might be able to get on the board here. Billy Pino comes wide to the near side. Jimbo Murphy in the backfield with Bonneau. Ken Kinsey working from the shotgun. Back pedals. Heavy pass rush here. Crum in pursuit. Throws it and is intercepted. Larry Dorey with the interception. That is the 3rd Townie turnover. 5 in the first half. More turnovers here than a church function.
Of course, we keep on talking about church on here. And maybe in some towns you'll be listening to this on a Sunday.
Born again. Not my fault. Blame the universe, okay?
I understand that's a big thing nowadays. And do we have something? The defensive unit is coming off. I thought I saw the offensive unit coming off, and I thought it was the end of the half.
Speaking of big things, we'd like to thank Pete, our cameraman. Sid, doing a great job. 1st and 10 now. The Shamrocks get it back. Creamer steps up, throws. It is caught by Bolio. No, they say it's incomplete.
It was pass incomplete. Taken for number 28, Steve Bowles. Looking down at 10.
Be second down and 10.
Shamrocks with 15.7 seconds left in the clock in the first half have an opportunity to do some big damage here. They're known for quick scoring, and they could possibly pull out a 74-yard pass to make it an even bigger lead.
Didn't get a word of that. For those of you viewing at home, we're going to be translating exactly what Sean says at the half.
Of course, you can also mail our ABT Dakota books in Bridgewater State Prison. You might have heard that on one of our other broadcasts.
Okay, who brought him? The Kramer steps up, and he's going to run with it. Here he goes, high-stepping, across the 45, finally run out by Lance Selman as he gets the first down, gain of 11. I'm only kidding, my friend.
Hey, this is a first-time thing for me. First time I've ever done color on a football game. I did some color in a couple state tournament basketball games, but not football at all.
Tell us something we don't know. I'm only kidding, man. I've done too many of these games. That's my problem. Timeout taken, 7 seconds left, 7.4 if you want to be official. Ball sits at the 48, coming up at the half. Our exciting halftime show. Stop it. We don't do that type of stuff. You're lucky if you get a scoring summary. And now here the officials, some sort of fraternity. Now, what are they saying to each other? Well, I don't know. What are you doing after the game? I don't know. Let's see if we can get the second half running a little quicker. Ah, geez, got mosquitoes out here. Yeah.
These referees, well, the referees in Charlestown last week got to go home a bit early as the game was quickened up due to the fact there was no lights. It was a very weird, eerie scene when that game ended, near total darkness. As it was amazing the players could even see to walk off the field at that point without any lights. As the referees were basically talking to each other after the game, they said they're pretty happy they were able to go out to a bar, on Saturday night. Only joking. The referees never do stuff like that. They go home and relax.
Wasn't listening. So whatever you said is okay by me. First and 10 from the 48. Just think, folks, we got a whole second half for you of this. That's why blowouts are bad for broadcasters. Kramer drops back. The lefty puts this one up. Flags fly. It is Greg Moore, and it is caught. Moore catches it off the deflection. Touchdown, Marlborough. 52-yard scoring strike from Kramer via Lance Selman into the hands of Greg Moore, who was shaken up. He really got rocked on that one. Now the officials, flags fly.
On Marlboro way.
The officials, saying something to Skeeter Bolio. Skeeter Bolio, something to the effect that you like to vacuum. Yeah, official's going to say, well, he made fun of me, and he said a naughty word, and let's see, now they're going to... One thing about this, though, I have to say, all the games that George Murphy calls, that he's got control over, because sometimes, I saw one last night in Merrimack Valley, and I think that there was one of those Rosie Ruiz referees. They didn't know who was officiating the game.
Yeah. Of course, George Murphy, also the commissioner of the Eastern Football League, pulls in double duties.
Which is why I kiss his butt so much.
For the Shamrocks. The Townies are going to take the penalty because if they refuse it, it will be a touchdown. So we're going to extend the period in one play.
Okay, I think you got that one right there. Of course, it's a 5-yard penalty, I believe. What is the exact yards on that? Do you know, possibly?
It's a 5. No, the penalty itself, the ineligible man. Okay, so it's a 20 yards all told, Sean. 5 yards, ineligible man has lost it down, actually. And then the Bob Ferrari gets a ineligible. No, he gets a unsportsmanlike conduct. I think he might have been run too. I don't see him out there. Did they run Ferrari? I'm trying to check him on and see if I see him on the sideline. He's on the bench. No, he's okay. He can still play. George Murphy banned Stickham a few years ago. He says, I went to put the ball down. He says, I'm walking away, and I noticed the ball still stuck to my hand. At that point, I said, no more Stickham. Remember Lester Hayes, the old defensive back for the Raiders, of course, Freddie Boletnikoff, one of the old receivers. They'd have more mucilage on them than you could throw a stick at. So it's the last play of the half. We're just going to sit on it. They just dropped to one knee, and that will do it for the first half. So we've come to the conclusion of one half of play from Kelleher Stadium in Marlborough with the score. The Shamrocks 24, the Townies nothing. You're listening to the EFL on everybody's favorite network. I had it written down a little. Where is it?
Was it the EFL on ABT?
That's right. The EFL on da-da-da-da-da. We'll be right back with our halftime scoring summary right after this. We're back at the half. John Horrigan along with Sean Smith and Peter McGowan. Kelleher Stadium, the score. The Marlboro Shamrocks 24. The Charlestown Townies nothing. This halftime report brought to you by all of the good food down at the concession stand. When you're hungry, go down to the concession stand and have some fried food. Well, a scoring summary for you. With 13:25 to play in the first quarter, I mean, we just sat down here. It hadn't even cracked our Pepsis. Skeeter Bolio caught a 20-yard touchdown pass from Dave Palazzi. John Toyes' kick was good, 7-0. Then with 1:24 to play in the first quarter, Frankie Fay went in from 4 yards out. Toyes' kick was good, 14-0. The Shamrocks, you should have changed the channel then. It was over. Second quarter, 9:46 to play. John Toyes had a long-distance ICBM, a 40-yard field goal, 17-0 Marlboro. Then with 3:15 to play in the first half, Palazzi went in from 4 yards out. He went home after that. Toyes' kick was good, 24-0 at the half. Stats unofficial, of course, through one half of play. Charlestown, 29 rushing, 78 passing for 107 yards total offense. Marlborough, 46 on the ground, 199 in the air, 245 yards total offense. First downs, Marlborough 9, Charlestown 7. Penalties, Charlestown 2 for 10, Marlborough 6 for 60. Time of possession, a meaningless statistic up to this point. Charlestown 17-37, Marlborough 12-23. Sean, your impressions of playing the first half? I know that I've kind of shocked you with my acerbic tongue, but...
One word, Marlborough. Marlborough is taking complete control of this game, although the Townies had, as you said, 11 minutes and 43 seconds, I believe, in the first quarter. They possessed the ball 15. Marlborough had it for those other 3-some-odd minutes, 3 minutes and 17 seconds, and they did well, and they scored 2 touchdowns that way, and they jumped out to that quick 14-0 lead, and now they're leading 24-0. And I think the Townies should just forfeit right here and go home and make this an early night for them.
Well, unfortunately for the Townies, I think that Dr. Jack Kevorkian's shown up, and he's got all his gear. Yeah, they're in for a long night. This one was over, as we said early on. The Townies had a few turnovers. We've seen 5 turnovers in this ball game. Is that what you got, Sean? 5 turnovers. As we said, more turnovers here than a little bakery, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh. Okay, and just looking at the quarterback sacks, well, we've had 2 interceptions for Charlestown, Philippone and McCarthy, and they had nice returns on both of them. But the Marlborough pass rush has been immense. They have been getting to the quarterback, Kinsey, in a big way.
They have about 5 or so sacks. I don't have an exact number on me. 3 sacks, he says. And
he says because he knows.
Yes, because he knows. Yes, 3 sacks on the evening. Of course, Ken Kinsey a little slower there because of his age, maybe, but maybe slower than Ed Sullivan, their other quarterback, would be. But they chose to go with Kinsey for an obvious reason.
Yeah, what's getting on his age in a big way, man. All right. Kinsey's done a good job, though. I have him for 6 for 13 passing for a total of 78 yards. Not bad. He had that long scoring pass, pass that went to Jeff McCarthy early in the game. Unfortunately, they couldn't convert. And there is one heck of a touch football game going on right now on the field at the half here. So that's our halftime report. A sad one, isn't it? You're watching the EFL on ABT. We'll be back with the kickoff and the start of the third quarter right after this. You're watching
the EFL on Guides Network, ABT.
Okay, Pete, ready? Let's come back. We're back, ready for the start of the second half. John Horrigan along with Sean Smith and Peter McGowan. Right now, they reenact the coin toss. It's some sort of archaic ritual that they display here in football. Left to right, John Benzinger and Larry Dory, Steve Cavallo and Tommy Grasso. On the other side for Charlestown, Sean.
For the Townies, I cannot see any numbers over there because the big wide bodies of
Either can I, which is why I passed it to you, to put you on the hot spot.
yeah, they make me look like a fool in front of my hometown audience in the city of Boston.
That's true. Oh, here's George Murphy in stereo tonight, by the way. Rocking and rolling with George Murphy on the PA tonight. He's wired. I should rephrase that. 15, well, actually 30 more minutes of exciting EFL action. Now, people say, what is ABT? Oh, it's a Atlantic Broadcast Teleproductions or All Babe Television. You pick it. Or another bad tape. But we're mercenaries, video mercenaries. We travel around the EFL. And, of course, when I say we, I'm talking about myself and my alter ego. Well, but Peter McGowan and I, and we've covered over 100 EFL games over the past 5 seasons. We've had the exclusive rights to the championship game over the past 4 years. DeFranco will drop back deep for Marlborough along with Greg Moore. Moore averaging 30 yards per kick return. Jimbo Murphy will do the kicking for the Townies, who trail 24-0.
Of course, the Townies now looking to make that improbable comeback from a 24-point deficit. And they're hoping that maybe, since the big one is looking up overhead, that maybe he can give them a miracle.
Yeah, and Chicken Little just showed up. Oh, the Townies last year, they backdoored it into the playoffs at 4-6. And ever since the EFL has gone to the NBA-type format in the playoffs, it's good. It lets a lot more teams into the playoffs.
The league is now in the playoffs.
That's good, Sean, but next time say it into the mic, my friend.
And most of the league is now in the playoffs, 8 of the 11 teams, which is, I think there maybe should be 4, not 8 teams in the playoffs. But that's another show.
Heindel's got it on the kick return. Check this out. Larry Heindel. Well, there's a little bit of a beef going on between Jeff Gemma. Let's set the lineups offensively for the Shamrocks. The center is Tony Amar. The right guard, Eric Starr. The left guard, Ed Perkins. The right tackle, Tom Holmes. The left tackle, John Benzinger. The quarterback, Jerry Creamer. The tailback is Darrell Brown. The fullback, Gabe Stovall. The flanker is Greg Moore. The split end, Skeeter Bolio. And the tight end is Bob Ferrari. Got a personal foul against the Charlestown Townies. Defensively for the Townies, the nose guard is Brian Hatch. The left defensive tackle is Chris Yancey. The right defensive tackle, Ed McKinnon. The right defensive end, Ed West. The left defensive end, Russell Freeman. The linebackers are Ron Menard and Mike Hardy in the secondary. The left cornerback is Lance Selman. The right cornerback, Rob Ferraro. The free safety, Tony Filippone. And the strong safety is Brian Walker. To open up the second half for the Shamrocks, Frank Fay carries.
As the second half begins, this is the EFL on ABT. Want to mention that this is our second broadcast of the year in Boston. We brought the DeBrays-Randolph game for the season opener, now back week 5 with the Townies Marlborough game.
Yeah, this can be a college frat drinking game. Every time we say ABT, just take a gulp, right? For some of the colleges there, ABT. Creamer, inside handoff to Big Gabe Stovall. He snowplows his way down to the 46.
Stovall, of course, one of the top receivers in the EFL. It's now going to be 3rd down and 4. He got 1 yard from what they're saying on the play. So they're going to give him their 3rd down and 4 on the 48-yard line, or now it's going to be the 47-yard line.
3rd and 3. The Shamrocks are 5 for 8 on 3rd down. And Creamer replaced Dave Palazzi. Not due to an injury, but due to the impending blowout. Creamer lofts it up again. Wide open is Skeeter Bolio. He has it and he goes in for the touchdown. Skeeter Bolio catches a 46-yard touchdown pass from Jerry Creamer. And with 13:20 to play in the 3rd quarter, Marlborough has a 30-0 lead.
30-0 Shamrocks. And, well, if we could go home right now, I think we would very much, but we are stuck here. It's kind of enjoyable, this blowout, seeing Marlborough making all the circus catches here. Are they trying to make a call in the field? Who knows? The stack you hear in the background is George Murphy's Mike. George, of course, the referee for tonight's game, also the commissioner of the Eastern Football League, and the only guy who could probably afford a portable mic.
Cavallo will hold for John Toyas, who is 3 for 3 on PATs and 1 for 1 on field goals. Kick is blocked. It is batted down. You can run this back for 2 points the other way. Such is the EFL. Now it looks like a rugby game out there. Finally, the ball is whistled dead. The point after touchdown is blocked. The block will be credited to Ed West. So, with 13:20 to play in the third quarter, we'll be back with more action. It's 30-0 Marlborough. Skeeter Bolio, the story. 4 catches, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Offensive MVP last year. And that is evident tonight, Sean. They're still going deep. Creamer this time connects up.
Yes, Creamer in the game, of course, for Palazzi after Palazzi really destroyed these guys. Marlborough was averaging 20 points a game coming into this contest, and they've surpassed it in their last 2 games against the 2 Boston EFL teams.
Harvey's kick sends Givens back to the 5. He's got a case of the dropsies. But manages again to make a nice return out of it. He returns it 22 yards. Pete Givens. That's where Charlestown will take over 1st and 10. Offensively for the Townies. The center is Fran McCarthy. The right guard, Jack Canini. The left guard, Kevin Marino. The right tackle, Tony Natola. The left tackle, Jim Charis. The tight end, Danny Ryan. The split end, Bill Pino. The flanker, Jeff McCarthy. The quarterback, Ken Kinsey. The tailback, Taylor Bonneau. The fullback, Jimbo Murphy. 1st and 10 now for the Townies as they get it back. Long count by Kinsey. Rolling to the right side. He's been sacked 3 times tonight. Throws it. Oh, what a catch by Ryan. And he really got licked by Gemma. Jeff Gemma hit him. What a catch. A one-handed grab by Ryan.
Nice play by Danny Ryan. Would be a little more applause if this is a home game, and also if Townies had some points on the board. 18-yard pass, my producer tells me. So it's another 1st down for the Townies, and it's now should be on the 46-yard line. 1st down and 10.
8 first downs for the Townies. Now slot right in the game is Orlando Soto. And for Charlestown, heavy pass rush by Morrissey. Kinsey throws across his body to Danny Ryan, wide open. Ryan took a vicious hit. Tommy Grasso really belted him.
The Townies look like they may be on their way to their first touchdown. Penalty or timeout.
Marlborough takes a timeout. With this timeout, we'll take a timeout. You're watching the EFL on ABT. And welcome back to Kelleher Stadium. John Horrigan along with, what's your name again, man?
Sean.
I know, wait, don't tell me.
Smith. You got Sean Smith.
Okay. 11:08 left in the third quarter, 30-0. Yes, the UN has arrived. We see them on the sideline. Dr. Jack Kevorkian was ushered out of the stadium. Nobody does well in the House of Pain here in Marlborough.
Of course, I'm a newspaper writer covering the Townies this season for several newspapers. Of course, one of them being the Charlestown Patriot. Say hello back to everybody there.
That's, of course, up until this game is cable casted. 1st and 10 for the Townies. Kinsey working from the shotgun. The ball being snapped from the 33. McCarthy wide to the near side. Pino went offside. And Pino tried to... He looked like he fell off the front of a skateboard, the way he tried to lean and stay on side.
Yeah, and of course the Townies now caught for illegal procedure, so that's going to be 5 yards on them, and they'll have it now 1st and 15 on the Marlborough 37-yard line.
Well, as Sean stated, you know, Sean, I've been kidding you and needling you a lot tonight, but man, you've done a great job. First time as color commentator. McCarthy, slot right. This Kinsey's pass is intended for Pino, who just got belted. Oh my, Hume hit him, Dory hit him, and DeFranco say, hey, why not make it a triple? Just belted them.
I do have to admit, this isn't my first time doing color commentary. Not first time on cable TV. I've done some color commentary in high school basketball broadcast on a radio station in Salem, Massachusetts. Maybe some people that in our listening audience have heard me and know how bad of a job I did.
Salem, now to Marlborough. You should take up smoking. All right. Second down and 15. Ball being snapped from the 38. Wide to the near side is Pino. He's taking a licking tonight. Kinsey takes the snap under center this time. Rolls to the right side. Steps up. Heavy pass rush. Throwing downfield for McCarthy. Overthrows it. It is nearly intercepted by Jeff Gemma. Heavy pass rush exhibited by the Shamrocks. Brian Kennett. Also, I believe Scott Luminello with the pressure.
Townies now, of course, trailing 30-0. 10:36 left here in this third quarter. It's going increasingly, it's going very slow.
You got it, though. Nose guard for Marlborough's Brian Kennett, the right defensive tackle John Creamer, the left defensive tackle Larry Heindel, the left defensive end Kevin Morrissey, the right defensive end Pete Turgeon, the right linebacker Chuck Eck, the left linebacker Carl Hume. In the middle is Larry Dory in the secondary. The right corner Phil Knowles, the left corner Jeff Gemma, the free safety Joe DeFranco, and the strong safety Tom Grasso. A long bomb here by Kinsey, intercepted by Jeff Gemma, goes out of bounds, penalty marker down.
Flag on the play, and it looks like they might be waving off the interception.
This guy was making contact, 1 5 yards downfield. Get him on a hold.
Here's George Murphy with the announcement.
Offensive pass interference, decline, ball intercepted, first down.
Penalty was declined, so it's now interception for the Marlboro Shamrocks. 4 turnovers by the Townies this evening. Intercepted for the Marlboro Shamrocks, Jeff Gemma, defensive back, 5'7", 180 pounds, out of Worcester State, one of the main players from that Worcester State program playing for the Shamrocks.
Well, the Shamrocks won the title last year over Randolph, beat Randolph the year before, lost to Randolph in 90, and then they won in 89. They're looking at three-peat. And clock running, 10:15 left in the third quarter. Still 10 more hours of game. Creamer, he's thrown a touchdown pass, hands off inside. I believe it's Darrell Brown.
Of course, that was first down on their own 8-yard line they had, and it was Darrell Brown. Oh, I made a mistake here. The scoreboard said I made a mistake. I'm sorry, and my producer's now very mad at me.
Get out. I'm kidding. Don't worry, folks. I don't understand either.
Cooperstown, this tape will be going to. Cooperstown, New York, if you want to view it. Viewing hours will be 9 to 5.
You're going to Bridgewater for observation is where it's going. From the 10-yard line. Creamer rolling out. Keeps it all the way. He picks up about 4.
Well, he did pick up above 4. I'm not going to second-guess my boss here, so it should be 3rd and 4, although they're pointing 3rd and 3 on the scoreboard. It is 3rd and 4 from the 14-yard line.
A 3rd down and 4. The Marlboro Shamrocks are 5 for 9 on 3rd down conversions. And they send Lionel Calder into the ballgame. He's all wide out to the far side. Inside handoff. Gabe Stovall has the first down.
Of course, first down now for the Shamrocks as they will move forward, I should say, towards Townie territory. They're not quite there yet. So he picked up 5 yards on the play, 5, 6 in that area. 1st and 10 now at the 20-yard line. Now let's see if they can make it 37 up.
1st and 10 now. Creamer is the quarterback. Stovall and this man, Darrell Brown, in the backfield. Another flag. Brown gets about a 5-er on that one, but it may be a holding call against Marlborough.
61, Green,
Here you hear George Murphy with his alien type audio attachment. Oh, back up the Shamrocks.
Of course. Plays back underway. It's 7:53 left here in the first quarter. First and 20.
Third quarter.
Third quarter.
First and 20. From the 10, Charlestown shows blitz. The pitch out of Frankie Fay following Benzinger's block. Frankie sweeps it to the left side, and he breaks free. Frank Fay is bumped out of the 26. Big gain.
They will mark him down at the 26-yard line. Do we have an injured player on the field? We're going to take a timeout here on the EFL on ABT as there's an injured Townie on the field. We'll be back after this break. You're listening to the EFL on ABT.
Welcome back to Kelleher Stadium. 7:28 to play in the third quarter. Marlborough a lot. Charlestown, none. Sean, your impressions of play for the Townies to come up here. Of course, they knew that this was going to be a difficult game. Did you think that they imagined it would be this difficult?
Well, when I was talking with some people over there today, they thought they had a good shot winning this game, which they have. Just been a few mistakes they've made in defensive reads and interceptions that have really cost them and burnt them. So it'd be interesting to see how many points that the Shamrocks have actually earned off interceptions and fumbles and stuff like that, because they have earned a lot of their offense off of that.
Yeah, Johnny Houlihan's a good guy too. I met him at the league meeting a couple of years ago. I've been kind of ragging snide, but just don't beat me up, is what I'm saying. Here's Stovall. He pulls his way forward and fumbles the ball out of bounds. Gabriel Stovall should have a first down.
Or Stovall becoming a rusher here. He's mostly known as a pass receiver. Picks up some big yardage. As they say, he'll have a first down to 43-yard line.
Shamrocks have 11 first downs. No, but in all deference to the Townies franchise, this is a tough loss. And, the stuff this does not make a whole season. What I'm trying to say is don't give out my number, Sean.
Right, exactly. The Townies have had a tough going. I'll get back to that more after this play.
Fumble! Frankie Fay picks it up. He's in trouble. He's taken down by Hatch. Big loss. All the way back to the 31.
The Townies do not have a desirable situation in Charleston. Unfortunately, they have no gate. They can collect no admission. The school department is really now charging them ransom to play at a field where they can't afford to play at. So I was talking to some people in the organization. It's unfortunate the nation's oldest franchise, amateur football, may end up moving because of the way the school department has been treating them over the last several years. So hopefully maybe that we get the message out here on cable. Some people will waken up and tell the school department to get off the Townies case. We'd love to see them stay in Charlestown.
Second down. And too many. Ferrari makes the catch. Oh, my. The tight end right at the first down marker.
Nice play there on the pass. It should be a first down. The catch made on the play by number 25, Steve Uriardi, I believe it was, that caught that football.
So, Sean, if fans want to go see the Townies play, tell us how they can do that.
Well, they can go to Charlestown High School. And the big Civilly rivalry, ironically, is next week as Charlestown takes on Boston. 7:30 kickoff over at Charlestown High School. Going to be an exciting game. The admission over there is nilch.
Here's Frank Fay. Spins his way across the 40 and then leaps forward down to the 38. Another first down.
Nice play by Frankie Fay. But as we said, you know, it's going to be a big game next week, so hopefully if this game is on before next Friday, then you people will know about the game and be able to come down and see it.
Yeah, on before, what, 1993, too. Where else are the Townies? Do you have their schedule handy if people want to go see the Townies? Do you notice how John's attitude towards the Townies has been one of rag, and now it's remorse?
Yes, Townies do play their next home game. After next week, they play McCoy Stadium on August the 20th. The 27th, they host Ocean State. The 3rd, they play in East Boston against the Boston Braves. Let's call this play.
Gabe Stovall. Still won't go down. God, you hit him with a tranquilizer gun and he wouldn't go down. Big run by Stovall, picks up 7.
Of course, also, if you want to go see their games, of course, the 3rd, they'll be in East Boston at East Boston Stadium against the Boston Braves. On the 11th, they'll be playing up in Lewiston, Maine against the Lewiston Auburn Warriors. And then they close out their season at Merrimack on the 18th of September. A game, by the way, you'll be able to see on ABT right here. So if you're in Boston, you'll be able to sit down right in front of the chair and watch more Townies football.
That's if they don't find my body in a shallow grave near Logan Airport. 2nd down, and whoa, that was about a 9-yard gain. A flag goes high into the air. A gain of 9 for Stovall there. It's going to be against the Shamrocks. Iwigo Procedure, as Elmer Fudd would say. Yeah, it's been an unfortunate game for the Townies tonight. But again, this is the height of their schedule as far as their most difficult opponent, obviously the defending EFL champion. And it lightens up, although Ocean State, they got 2 more games remaining, right?
Ocean State's a powerhouse this season. If anybody has not seen them play, they are reportedly the best team in the league from what I've heard.
Darrell Brown, straight arms. Rob Ferraro, the right cornerback. First down. No, he's a little shy. I just like saying first down, though.
Of course, let's hope you do come out and watch East Townies football games. They're a very exciting team. Although they are 1-2 and they're soon to become 1-3, they deserve your attention definitely. As they play every week, they have already had their bye, so they play the full schedule on the rest of the way.
There's a phone number, Sean, people can contact if they'd like to find out more about the Townies. Marlborough is 5 for 10 on 3rd down conversions. Here's Creamer, steps up into the pocket. He's got some speed. He's got the first down. Reminds me a little like Jimmy Zorn, the former Seattle Seahawk. First down.
First down for Kramer. Of course, they do not have a phone number to get in touch with them. Although if you do read my weekly newspaper articles, I do run down their schedule periodically, so you can look up in there. And of course, the Braves also playing over East Boston. That's a very beautiful facility over there. Although the field, besides the field not being lined only every 10 yards, it's a very nice facility.
Yeah, one of the Braves used to play at a field that was like the dark side of the moon. The field was marked off and spit.
Kelly Field in Hyde Park, exactly.
Here's Stovall. Stovall rams his way down to the 15.
Well, the facility's a little better over there now, but in East Boston, but that's only temporary home for them. They do not know where they will be playing next year, as of course they are inside the Charlestown's 25-mile radius, which the EFL teams have, and they may be forced to. The Charlestown Townies gave them an exemption this year, but they would not. The Townies really don't like them cutting into their business too much, so they want them back on their side of the city.
Absolutely, they're going to fight over those 500 fans. Serious, no, that's about 500 fan swing. People that EFL, there's about 500, 600 here tonight. Creamer's in trouble again. Straight arms one of the defenders and then runs out of bounds. Tom McGarth caught him as he crossed the 10, down to the 6.
Of course, as we look here, Marlborough looks like they will make it 36-0 very soon with 1:15 left here in the quarter. It's first down for some reason. First and goal from the 7 now. So that was a nice little nifty pickup there by the quarterback, Creamer. As Marlborough wants to make it a bigger lead. 1:09 is left in the first quarter. Creamer with the ball. He goes, he drops back, he's in some trouble. He threw it away before he was sacked. The sack made on the play by number 44, Wayne Bartoloni. I don't know if they'll call it a sack or intentional grounding. It should be. Grounding that will be. So that is a 10-yard penalty 5-yard penalty, excuse me, which will make it first and goal now on the 12-yard line.
It's a 5-yard penalty and loss of down. Added on to where the sack occurred. Sack occurred at the 22. Play went from the 7-yard line, or is that where? Yeah.
Sack at the 22-yard line.
So it was a loss of 15 on the sack. Oh, there you go again. You're questioning my arithmetic. Let's hear it. What do you have to say?
Plus another loss of 5 on the penalty, of course.
Right. You seem... no, I thought just for a second there you were going to question my arithmetic again. Bartolone gets credit for the quarterback sack. Here's Frankie Faye. Manages to get free. Finally, he is just drilled into the ground like an auger there. Who was that made the stop? Brian Walker, the strong safety. He's a big safety.
Big guys. We mentioned the Townies are big defensive line. The clock is running down here. Let's see if they will get another play. It does not look like they will get another play before this quarter ends. There is 16, 15, 14. It looks like we're going to run down the quarter here. The quarter has come to a close here at Kelleher Stadium in Marlborough.
Marblehead. Nick him in, knucklehead. So it comes to the conclusion of 3 quarters of play. Mercifully, from Kelleher Stadium with the score. The Marlboro Shamrocks 30, the Charlestown Townies nothing. We'll be returning with the 4th and final quarter as you're watching the EFL
on ABT.